Hey friends, welcome back to Rita Talks. I'm Rita, and on this YouTube channel, I just share some of the thoughts, ideas that I've been thinking about, some of the things that have been going on in my life. And in today's video, I want to talk about this idea that I've encountered while I was reading Hidden Potential by Adam Grant. And basically, this is an idea that I thought was very cool, and I wholeheartedly agree with, and basically that I've encountered in my life. And basically, this idea kind of comes from the Finnish school system. So basically, the Finnish school system has been super surprising, I think, in the years 2000 all the way to, I think, 2010 and whatever, because basically they were the country to score the highest on like those kind of school aptitude tests. And the reason that it's surprising is because it's a super small country, and I think it doesn't have as many resources as other countries, like Norway, which is a neighboring country, and all of that stuff. And so basically, like, for multiple times, they thought that it was a fluke. Like, people thought, oh, this is a fluke. But actually, they were able to, like, kind of reproduce those results for 3 tests in a row. So I think these tests happen every 3 years or so by the OCDE, OE, I don't know how you pronounce it. I don't remember what's the exact thing, but basically they do a lot of studies and stuff like this. And basically, Adam Grant wanted to get to the bottom of this and understand why Finland, out of all countries, basically outperformed all of the countries in the world in this test. And the idea that basically he was able to trace this back to is this idea that no child left behind. So basically, this is in stark contrast with whatever we see in the US, where basically in the US, the core premise of the education system is trying to identify super early on who are the super bright students, and then allocating like their resources accordingly, which sounds kind of reasonable if you say it out loud, but then you kind of undermine basically the abilities of students. So actually, a lot of the adult geniuses, like only a very small percentage of adult geniuses were actually thought to be geniuses, were like, or were actually thought to have extraordinary abilities when they were younger. And so basically this kind of negates this whole, if you're a child prodigy, then you're more likely to succeed when you're an adult, because basically it's the paradox of the child prodigy, where basically you kind of start to build, like, basically, first of all, when we're young, what we define as child prodigies are just children who obey the rules very well, basically kind of reward that, and basically kind of reward extrinsic displays of intelligence, and those actually extrinsic displays of intelligence do not correlate very well with actual intelligence, and so that's basically where the problem starts. So basically, like, I think there were multiple factors that contributed to the fact that the Finnish school system outperformed all of the rest of the world. And basically, the first factor was this idea that no child left behind, and basically giving the same resources to all children, like the same opportunity to all children to be able to develop their skills. And that actually lines up with the research that shows that actually being a child prodigy does not correlate whatsoever to being an actual like genius or having an effect as an adult. And we actually see that like a lot of the inventors and people who were considered geniuses from the work that they've done later in life were almost never child prodigies. They were very normal students. They did not perform that well in school. They were okay. And basically, there's no correlation whatsoever. Like, there's no actual evidence to support this reasoning that, okay, we find the most brilliant children and only invest in those, because with that comes the underlying assumption that ability is fixed, and that kind of aligns with the fixed mindset that Carol Dweck defined in her book Mindset. And so that's a very stark contrast with the growth mindset, which is basically that your abilities are not fixed at birth and that you can always improve. And so, yeah, basically there's an inherent fixed mindset in the US and in a lot of other places. And basically what the Finnish the Finnish education system did differently is pretty much embrace the growth mindset. And basically they have this mantra that says, no child left behind. And so basically having like a lot of support, a lot of individualized, like first of all giving children autonomy over their work and like the things that they learn helped a lot. So autonomy and basically no child left behind. So just basically this fundamental belief that any child with the right approach can learn anything. And so that was really, really cool. And it's something that I truly fundamentally believe in, is that anyone can learn anything if they have the tools to do so. And basically it just comes down to building up those tools little by little, and you will be able to do anything. And that was a very, very interesting finding. And also they noticed that like he noticed Adam Grant that in the kindergarten, basically in stark contrast with the kindergarten in US, where they're becoming more rigid, more where they're requiring more time to sit down and do like thinking, reading stuff. The kindergartens in Finland emphasize play, and basically this idea that children's like it's the children's, I don't know, I'm butchering it, but basically children's most important, like children's work is play, and so that's what they need to do, is just play, because basically in the Finnish system, like only one day out of the 5 days that they go to kindergarten is actually dedicated to actually sitting down and learning the letters and stuff like this. And all of the other days are dedicated to play and just being immersed in whatever interests them. And that was very, very cool to see. So this core component of play. And as I mentioned earlier, agency. So basically, when you give agency to students, they perform better because they kind of take ownership, and with that ownership comes the increased performance. And the last thing, I think maybe I might have missed something else, but I think one extra factor that I remember at least that Adam Grant talked about is this idea of looping. So what's this idea of looping is basically when you have the same set of teachers from multiple years, and basically they showed that despite the fear like of parents, like the reason that parents might be opposed to looping is they might be afraid that, oh my god, my child is gonna be assigned that one Voldemort teacher from multiple years in a row. But actually, the research has shown that looping helped basically the most the students that were struggling, as well as the teachers that were struggling, because that tacit knowledge that they gained from being around the students and understanding their own very specific quirks kind of trumped, like, other classroom skills, I think. And so basically, the knowledge that the teacher learns about the students, like, okay, this person is very good at this, but not so good at this, so let me try and show them this in a way that's understandable to them through this other thing. That's very important. And basically, if you change teachers every year, that makes it way less likely that kind of tacit knowledge that's learned is kind of lost year over year. Whereas with looping, where basically it's the practice of having the same teachers multiple years in a row, and in the Finnish system they go as far as 6 years in a row. Basically, just like, what was I trying to say? Yeah, basically this practice just really improved the performance of especially like low performing students, as well as low performing teachers, because I guess they had less students to learn about, right? So they could just use that tacit knowledge over and over again to try and get better at teaching those specific students. So that was very interesting. I had never heard of this practice of looping before, and so that was just very cool to learn. And I'm super curious about like how to teach best, and how to make sure that basically kids learn the best. And also, wait, I forgot to mention this, that the Finnish scored on the most efficiency when working. So they worked a fraction of the time that, for example, Chinese students worked, but performed better because they had this notion of play. And they basically judged their experience of high performance much higher. They were much happier while performing much better than everyone else. So that was just like the cherry on top. Like that, this is amazing to know. And yeah, I just love this part of the book. So thank you, Adam Grant, for writing such an amazing book. I'm learning so much from it, and yeah, I hope that you guys are also learning from this book, and I definitely recommend you go check it out, read it, listen to it, whatever it is. And yeah, it was very, very cool to see, and I'm super happy to have found out about all of these different things that make, like, basically reaffirming this fundamental belief that I've had, that I've built over time, that everyone is teachable, and you just have to find the right way to teach it to them, and that it is findable. That right way to teach it to them, you just have to try over and over again. And then these other extra things, basically the emphasis on play and on enjoying what you do. And basically, something that helps you enjoy what you do more is agency. It allows you to enjoy what you do more. And the last thing that I thought was very cool is this practice of looping. So basically, as basically moving teachers up as also students go up in grades, and that basically allows them to kind of get a good assessment of the student and tailor the learning to their students without losing that tacit knowledge that's gained year over year. So yeah, those are the things that I learned today about like from the Finnish system, or about the Finnish education system, that makes it much better than most of the other education systems out there. And yeah, I hope you found this one interesting, and yeah, hopefully you'll be able to use these kind of ideas in your day-to-day lives. At least I know I will. And yeah, thanks a lot for tuning in today. You can click here to watch my previous video on this channel, so the one right before this one, or you can click here to watch my latest video on the channel overall. Thanks again for tuning in. I hope you have a fantastic rest of the day, night, whichever time of day it is where you are right now. Bye for now, and I'll hopefully see you in the next one. Bye bye!